Boys and girls, welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Starting from Scratch podcast with me, your host, John Kleisch, on episode 23. If this is your first time listening, really appreciate you tuning in. Would love to hear how you found out about this podcast and how you landed here. And what this is about is I am just documenting my journey from zero, starting from scratch. That's why I named it this podcast, Starting from Scratch, because I am literally starting from $0 of owned commercial real estate, with zero commercial real estate experience, all the way up until today, which has been about 7 months now-ish. And now I own about $2.5 million worth of commercial real estate in the form of two buildings. One's an industrial building in Glendale, Arizona, and the other is an office building in Sun City, Arizona, based here in Phoenix. So, really appreciate you tuning in. This is going to be a raw, authentic documentary of my journey, the good, the bad, the ugly. And if you have been listening to a couple episodes, you know it's been more ugly than good. But that's real estate for you. So if it was any different, I would be shocked in a bad way. So let's see here. Wow, podcast, guys, we had the best week ever. We have 15.5% of our downloads happened last week. I don't know what caused the spike, but it has been kind of on an uphill trajectory for a while, and there was a massive spike last week. So I love seeing that because I literally just look at a computer monitor and a camera and I just talk. I don't interact with anybody. So the only feedback that I really get is from my downloads. So I love to see the traction. I love to see people listening. And on a side note, there's a new feature here. If you go into the description of this episode, there should be a link that says, send me a message. Haven't tried it. No one's done it yet since this is the first week I'm announcing it. But guys, do me a favor, click on that send me a message thing. Just send me a message. I want to see how it works. B, I want to hear from you guys. If you like something, didn't like something, have something to tell me, whatever it may be. You want to swear at me or tell me a joke. I don't care. Send me that. I'm really excited. I saw that last week after I finished recording this podcast, and I thought that'd be a really, really cool feature and got really excited about it. So funny segue into that. I believe that is pretty much it. Oh, guys, if you know anyone in South America, that's the only continent that we do not have any downloads in, and I want to go completely worldwide. So if you know someone in South America, send this to them and give it a listen, just so I can say that we are fully international, fully worldwide. That'd be a cool little tip in my hat, feather in my cap, right? Something like that. I don't know. I was going to say notch in my bedpost, but that is not what that is referring to. That is not referring to podcast downloads. So, let's see here. What else do we have to go over? That's pretty much it. So, if you've been tuning in, I know that you have been probably anxiously been awaiting for the eviction. And I got some news. It didn't happen yet. Couple reasons. So, the main reason being is that we do not have insurance yet on this building, and the reason for that is because it's a seller finance note and not required. The gentleman that owned it prior to us, owned it for 15 years, did not have insurance. He doesn't insure anything that he owns because that's just the way he is. And at first we were going to get it, and realistically it came out to be very, very, very expensive, about double what the insurance agent initially quoted us. And he had a hard time even finding people that would take on a building like this. So we didn't have any investors into the deal. It's just us. And we talked about it and thought, hey, you know what? We're willing to just let it ride without insurance. Yeah, not a big fan of it to begin with. It's ridiculous. It's expensive, and they always try to not pay anyways. And we was like, okay, hey, let's not worry about that for now. However, with this looming eviction, I would feel much better and sleep much, much better at night with an insurance policy in place. Because if our building was I guess, at risk of getting burnt down, I would say that right now is probably the highest percentage chance of that happening. So, been talking with my insurance agent, getting all of that information over to him, was hopefully going to get it Monday. Did not happen. Today is Wednesday. Still don't have it. So we're waiting for that. Is a big thing. Second reason, on Friday, which was, this was Friday afternoon, so call it 11, 12 o'clock, I got a Zelle notification of like $3,500 coming in. And I was like, okay, cool. We're owed 15 and a half grand. $3,500 came in. And I was like, well, this guy has until 2:05 today to satisfy the lease. Otherwise, he's getting evicted. And he says, hey, can you meet up? I've got cash. Cool. Talk to him a little bit. It's not enough. It was like 10 grand. So I was like, dude, this ain't gonna cut. I'm like, don't even worry about it, bros. This ain't gonna work out. Like, we're just done. And then another long story. His half brother is a gentleman that I already know from this deal. Long story short, of another tenant that's on property, fantastic tenant. Shout out, Josh. And he calls me. I was like, what does this guy want? I know that he's half brothers with my one tenant, and he's working with my other tenant on some jobs as well. So I'm like, oh, I have a feeling I know what this is about. He called me, said, hey, this is the deal. He's really bad at running businesses. He's a great body shop guy. I'm coming on board to manage everything. Blah, 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 20-minute conversation. And it ended like, hey, dude, it's just too late. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's just too late. Very cool guy. Like him a lot. Great conversation. I was a little bit like, oh, maybe this will work out. Call my partner, talk to him about it. And he's like, honestly, like, that sounds fine. If he gets caught up, they get caught up, right? Like, and ultimately I went there the next day to collect the cash. And I got a good chunk of change. I forget exactly how much, something about $6 grand out of the 15. So I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't cut it. They're still going to get evicted. And today I got another Zelle deposit for like $3,500. So now they're like $6,700 short. And honestly, a part of me was like feeling a little bit bad about evicting them and then still collecting their money. But I was like, why? He still owes me money. Not that he's going to last this long, but in 10 days, he's going to owe another $7,500. And when I'm doing this math in my head, that's just obviously right. He's struggling to barely make ends meet, let alone another $7,500 coming on top of it, let alone the $4 grand a month I need on the back lot from him as well, which he's taking up a good chunk of that lot by just storing vehicles there. So unfortunately, I don't have any crazy cool eviction stories to tell you guys. I imagine by next week now, trust me guys, next week. However, I really do think that by next week, we'll get all my ducks in a row. I have everybody on standby that is going to help out with the eviction. And all I need to do is get the A-OK from the insurance. And once that goes into effect, then it's go time. I'm really hoping this doesn't go another week because I have a lot. I've been advertising this on Facebook Marketplace, which is a fantastic way to market. That's how I found all of my tenants so far. It's worked out fantastic. And I leased this spot up, I don't know, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now. And I get a lot of leads, obviously, Facebook Marketplace, a lot of tire kickers. However, I've found out ways to maneuver through Facebook Marketplace. I can do a whole podcast on that for those that are in real estate in general, on what I've noticed and learned how to combat all of the time wasters and whittle out the ones that are not good, and then leaving the ones that are great. Now, I just looked at my notes here. I have 6 guys that are well qualified, have solid businesses, know their stuff, are very responsive, that are interested. Now, a couple of them want the whole shop, a couple of them want sections, and a couple of them just want a couple bays here and there. However, that's cool with me. Funny story, I was talking to my other tenant in that industrial building on Grand about insurance. I needed his insurance forms and everything. He got that to me, and he calls me. He's like, "Hey," he goes, "Why is that other section for rent? What's going on?" Completely caught me off guard. I thought he was going to complain about something. And I was like, uh, 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 I can't talk about it. Yeah, of all time. And he got it. When he gets kicked out, can I have his spot? And I was like, well, definitely something to talk about. So I left it with him as, hey, I can't say anything. However, you will get the first right of refusal to that spot. So overall, I may not even have to replace that whole section. My former tenant or my current other tenant might take that whole spot. He's been there since September. He's paid rent every single month. We've had some issues here and there. However, normal stuff. And I like the guy. He pays. He has a really clean shop. He has really cool vehicles. He does low riders and very custom stuff. The guy seems really talented. So that's always cool and good. But I don't know. We'll have to go through his books and his bank statements to see if he can even afford it. I don't know if that is a possibility. Would be great if so. Now, what I did today was get a map broken down, and I don't have it fully done yet. I guess I could share it. Let's see if I have it. Do I have it here? I do. Let's see if I can share this. This would be kind of cool. So I was meeting with my partner today, and he wanted to see. He's never been here. He's in Georgia, so he wanted to see basically what it looks like broken down per bay. So as you can see here, guys, for those of you that are watching, here's a overall view of the shop. Now I broke it down into individual bays on what I think they can rent for. And this is a very, very rough sketch to begin with. I didn't paint, but also a rough idea. Now, I believe wholeheartedly that I can get a lot more per area. However, I wanted this to be like not a worst case scenario, but a very, very, very realistic expectation of what I can bring in if we were to rent out by the bay or specific areas. Now, there's one area that I wouldn't be able to do that, and that's that whole body shop listed right there where it says body shop. That area really wouldn't be conducive to get broken up. So I would lease that out to a body guy. And I have like 3 or 4 body guys, probably 3 body guys that are like dying to get in that spot. It seems to be a great spot overall. It comes with a paint booth, everything like that. So we're looking at 8,500 there, 1,000 there, 1,000 there, 2,000 there, 1,500 there, just from renting out these areas on what it seems to be about 30% below market. That's 14 G's coming in per month from that. With my other side, that'd be $18,000. Now, I don't have the numbers in front of me. However, doing these calculations before, I know that $18,000 was our projected cash flow in year 5. And at that point, that building would be worth $3 million. And I bought it for 1.5. So if we are able to get those numbers, get it fully leased up, however that happens, and continue to lease that back area, the whole entire shop, that's $18,200 coming in per month. Guys, so if I did that, I would have to have some more expenses. I would have to put the power in my name. I'd have to put the water into my name. And that's going to probably be about $2,000 total max. So that would be right around $11,000, $11,500 expenses, bringing in 18.2. Do the math. That's like $7,000, $6,500 a month in cash flow. Ooh, that's a lot of money. Now, that would be fantastic. because we've just been getting our tail kicked in left and right from every single angle, but also not really. After my partner conversation or meeting today, it was like, you know what? This has been a pretty bad situation overall. However, we were still cash flowing the whole time with a tenant that was struggling to pay rent that was multiple, I mean, not multiple, about 1.5 months rent behind at always. And we were still cash flowing. So if this is the worst thing that we deal with on Grand, you know what? Sign me up. That's not bad, because in retrospect, going the eviction a couple months ago, I was way more nervous about doing the eviction, about the process and everything. Now I feel like since it's been talked about so much, and now especially getting the feedback from our listings that this place is hot and we shouldn't have that much issue getting it rented. I'm excited. I am very, very excited about getting this eviction done and over with and moving on. Another reason I was not really thrilled about it was all this stuff that's going to be left behind. Now, if I can find a tenant to take over the spot and is willing to deal with all of that junk too, I will work out a deal with them, make it worth their while, because A, it's going to be a ton of work for me to do. B, I don't even know what to do. C, whoever takes over the spot is going to be a car guy. There's going to be some stuff there that they're going to be able to use, get abandoned titles for, sell, and know what that stuff is. So there might even be a benefit to them where they might be able to sell $10,000 or $15,000 worth of stuff, and I will incentivize them to take it over, because if I could get someone in there, not necessarily day one, but call it day one immediately, and I don't have to be there for weeks straight figuring out what to do with all of this junk and paying people to get rid of this stuff, right? And we can get somebody in there. Dude, talk about a win-win. So I have a really good feeling about Grand, guys. I am super stoked on it. It is, it's always been the banner property, the best one out of the two for me, for sure. It was one that I was always most excited about in general. However, with our current situation, it's been kind of dragged down. But now with the eviction happening here any minute now, and these prospective tenants coming in, it's going to be awesome. I don't see any issues. I've learned a ton about vetting tenants now, and God damn it, there is no way, mark my words now here, guys, there's no way we're going to get a bad tenant. Is it going to happen maybe in the future? Sure, of course. I feel like you do enough deals, you're going to run into bad tenants. However, I know enough now to ask really, really, really good questions, to not to question everything, to really go dig deep into their business and look at their books and look at their financials and figure out how strong they are financially, and to see if they have a legitimate business here. I don't know what else to do outside of that, but having longer conversations with somebody. And actually, you know what? I had a good friend in CG that was a property manager. I have a feeling like it would behoove me and you guys if I was to bring him on and he could give me a little master class on leasing and what they do and how they run everything. I feel like that would be very, very well needed. In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to reach out to Danny Gonzalez and have him come on. I think that would be a really cool thing, especially for me, because it's a conversation I needed to have anyways, and might as well record it and make a podcast out of it to share it with you guys. So that's pretty much that for Grand. Thunderbird. Oh, guys, I've been stressing out about Thunderbird. For those of you that don't know, Thunderbird's an office building. It's, golly, it's been a minute here. I forget how many square feet it is. I think it's 8,300 square foot, 7,600 square foot, something like that. I got a tenant in about 1,200 square foot, signed up on a new 5-year lease, fresh. That was great. However, the rest of it is about 6,400 square feet. It's office. Office is very, very soft now overall. And this is in an area, it is a unique area. And I knew this going into it. I knew this wasn't going to be a slam bam, thank you, ma'am, get it leased up immediately. But, the longer this goes on, it's been leased now since the beginning of the year, which is about 5-6 weeks, call it 5 weeks, and nothing, no leads. And that's when I started to get pretty nervous. because I'm driving around town. I'm seeing all of these vacant office buildings with signs in front for lease, for lease, for lease. And I'm just going, oh my God, what's going to happen here? Slowly I was worried about just every month, nothing. And then it's like, shoot, what do we do now? Right. And I know in the future, long term, we got it for such a great deal that it doesn't matter. However, the interim is the scary part, right? We got about 4 months left of operating, 5 months maybe of operating in that account. So then that starts to creep in. Oh my God, right? Like you start to overthink things. Also, because I am new, right? My inexperience definitely shows through, where I do start to get a little bit antsier earlier on than probably most people would. However, let me go back here. The other day, I get a UPS sticker from whatever law group. What is this for? I knew it was for this specific LLC that was attached to the office building. At first, I thought it was my tenant's lawyer reaching out on grant. And now I was like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. This guy hired a lawyer. But then I saw the LLC name was different. So I was like, oh, okay, this is weird. I'm like, what could this be? The next day, the whatever certified delivery gets me, and I open it up. Apparently, there's an HOA on Thunderbird. And I bought this foreclosure from a bank owned. The bank apparently didn't know about the HOA or something like that, or just didn't pay. I have no idea. Title didn't find out anything about an HOA neither. So we were rocking and rolling, just, continuing on. And thank God I didn't change too much on the outside already, because then I get a nasty gram from this lawyer saying, hey, FYI, you owe my client 15 grand. Here's all the stuff you owe. If you don't respond or satisfy this in 30 days or less, or 30 days, whatever, we're going to file a lien on the property. And it's like, well, I didn't know there was an HOA at all. B, I didn't know there was $15,000 that's owed on this property. And C, now I got to pay a fucking HOA fee on top of it all. And I'm thinking, okay, what is it? A couple $100 a month? Dude, it's $900 a month. $100 a month. Do you know what that does to the value of that building at a 7.5 cap? That takes about $160,000 worth of value away from that building, just because that's an additional expense. So that's a bummer. So all of this is happening. No tenants coming in, getting crickets. We're, slowly getting dripped to death on monthly expenses with electric and water, which is asininely expensive, which I leave for another time. And then we get this $15,000 bill in the mail, and we find out there's an HOA. So it's like, oh God. And then also dealing with the eviction and everything like that. So that was a rough week, maybe about 2 weeks. However, I get a text message from my broker. Hey, FYI, I got a call from a broker. He's got a client that wants to see the place tomorrow. I'm bringing him by at 10 a.m. And it's a national credit company or something like that, right? I forget the exact cool guy phrase, but I'd ask my partner, like, hey, what does that mean? And basically it's like a brand that you would know. It's a business that you would know. They have offices or locations across the nation, or they're a big company, which is exactly who we need here, right? 6,400 square foot office, big gorgeous entryway with a big foyer, grand entrance, winding staircase up there. That's who needs a spot like this, right? Not your typical little mom and pop type of thing. So granted, whatever happens, I'm okay with. I don't care if they don't like it or they don't make an offer or whatnot. What I am excited about is that we got a lead, right? That just shows that the market isn't as soft as I was thinking, as my research led me to believe. Because at the end of the day, we got into this knowing that it was going to be a very specific tenant that did want this spot. Now, this is getting a little bit longer of a podcast than I like to do. Then we were talking with my partner John again today about smaller spaces always rent easier than larger spaces. So then we were talking about how we can actually break this up. And John was like, hey, do me a favor, get out the blueprints. You know this office really well. What can we do for as cheap as possible to break this area up into as many spots as possible? And it doesn't require us to go lease by the office to do like an executive suite type of deal, like a Regis or WeWork or whatever, because that's a pain in the ass. Don't want to do that. And then I looked at these blueprints and I was like, dude, all we got to do is close up one door frame by wallet and then add a door to the opposite side, and that splits this place into 2 units upstairs and 1 downstairs. So we can go from 3 units, or from 1 unit into 3 units that are going to be like comparable sizes. Everything is going to be about 2,000-ish square feet, 2,100 square feet. Some have more offices than others. However, if we do need to do that, that's amazing. It's going to cost like $1,000, maybe $2,000 to get 3 different offices. That's like unheard of. And it works out really, really well. It wouldn't be really bizarre or weird or anything like that. It would be a little bit, but I'm not going to get into it. That's a real possibility. And that's something that we can have our broker market and get done or talk to other brokers about without even doing the work, right? It could be, hey, look, this space, this space, this space. We can list them into smaller spaces and see if we get some activity that way. So, guys, this was a long podcast. I don't want to do 30-minute podcasts, but overall, it's been a dark cloud has been hanging over my head for the last couple of weeks for sure. Oh, back to that thing, the Thunderbird thing. We talked to Title. It sounds like they're going to take care of that lien through in their title insurance. But then I was talking to my partner about it, like, well, hey, dude, if we knew this was $1,000 or $900 a month HOA fee, like maybe we wouldn't have gotten into this deal, or definitely would have offered less, right? Knowing that we just took a $160,000 haircut off of our valuation here. So we talked about that for a little bit, and I still think the deal is so dang good that it doesn't make sense to turn it in. I guess, I don't know for certain, but he said that we could potentially, get all of our money back and like return the building, or the title have to buy the building or something. I don't know how that works, but again, not really overly interested in that since we got this building so good. We will see how that ends up. I will get you more updates as things progress. I've seen emails go back and forth between Title and the old owners and whoever they're talking to about all of that. So interesting stuff to unfold. However, back to my point that it has been pretty difficult the last couple of weeks. However, there are starting to be little signs of light, which just makes me so very happy, because eating shit for so long just turns you into a mental head case, which is no fun. So having some good, positive things happen is awesome. It feels really good. This is definitely the riskiest position I have been in a very long time, just because I have these assets and all of these notes due hanging over my head, a lot of liabilities every month. However, future John will be looking back and going, wow, remember when I thought I was stressed out about and these buildings are now worth $3 million, they're worth $1.5 million, whatever it may be. That will be a very, very good day. Can't wait to take you guys on that journey with me. I would love to shart. I did shart my pants the other day, but I would love to start sharing good news with you guys and celebrating with you So on that note, boys and girls, really appreciate you listening in. Next week, I might have some crazy stories for you on eviction and maybe new tenants. Probably not new tenants, but I would say definitely some eviction type related stuff. And hopefully maybe we get some good news on Thunderbird with a contract signed as well. So really appreciate you guys listening. Follow me on Instagram, john.kleisch, john.kleisch. Follow along there. I like to put up weekly updates and pictures and cool things and maybe walkthroughs of buildings that I'm checking out. Much easier to share stuff on Insta than it is here on this podcast. Again, guys, check out that send me a message thing in the description of that podcast. I would really, really, really like someone to hit me up and check that out, see how that works overall. And guys, I've done enough talking here. I'm ready to go to bed. On that note, we're out of here. Take her easy.